Speeding Bulletin. My name is Steve Younis from SupermanHomepage.com. This is all Superman related news that happened during the week April 27th to May 3rd, 2012. In movie news, CinemaBlend.com has posted a video interview with actor Richard Schiff and asked him about playing Dr. Emil Hamilton in the upcoming Man of Steel movie.
I expect it to make a lot of money for it. Those people are crazy. I expect that to be a pretty big one. We have a lot of fun shooting.
The LA Times reports that Zack Snyder will be appearing at the 2012 Hero Complex Film Festival on May 18th, where he's expected to share some details on Man of Steel. In TV news, IGN.com caught up with Young Justice producers Greg Weisman and Brandon Vietti to find out what we can expect from Season 2 of the animated series. Vietti said, "I think in the second season you're going to see a lot less of that dynamic where somebody has to come give them an assignment. We wanted them to feel like they've grown, they're their own unit, they're finding their own missions and going out to solve problems on their own." Superman homepage writer Isaac Frisby has updated our Young Justice animated series episode guide with a summary of the Season 2 premiere episode Happy New Year. Isaac has also written his review of this episode, giving it a 4 out of 5 rating, saying, "The story itself was great, but there was little explanation about the gap between the seasons." Cartoon Network and DC Entertainment released the episode description, 10 images and 2 video clips for Earthlings, the upcoming new episode of the Young Justice animated series. In this episode, Miss Martian, Superboy, Beast Boy and Adam Strange arrive on the distant planet Rann to stop the alien infiltration of Earth at its source. Earthlings airs on Saturday, May 5th at 10:30 AM on Cartoon Network. Warner Home Video collected a total of 6 awards in the 2nd Annual Home Media Magazine Awards, including 2 major awards for Smallville the Complete Series. The 62-disc set won TV DVD of the Year and Best Complete Series TV DVD set for 2012. Smallville also received a total of 4 nominations in the 2012 Leo Awards, which celebrate film and television work in British Columbia. The show's crew is up for Best Cinematography, 2 nominations in Best Production Design, and Best Costume Design in a Dramatic Series. The award ceremony will take place on May 25th. In comic book news, BleedingCool.com claimed to have received word that Scott Lobdell, the writer of Teen Titans and Superboy, will take over from Dan Jurgens and Keith Giffen as writer of the monthly Superman comic book title from October. This hasn't been confirmed by DC Comics yet, so stay tuned for further details. Superman comic books we reviewed this week included Superman number 8, which was reviewed by Adam DeChannel, who gave it a lowly 1 out of 5, saying, "Terribly lackluster, but from this terrible effort the only way to go is up, I hope." Teen Titans number 8 was reviewed by Sean Morrissey, who said, "What's really missing is the tension," and he rated it a 2 out of 5. Sean also reviewed Superman Beyond number 2, saying, "Relic is a story I'm thoroughly intrigued by, and I'm thrilled that it's a weekly digital title," and he gave it a 4 out of 5. Smallville Season 11 Chapter 3 was reviewed by Mark Pritchard, who gave it a 3 out of 5, saying, "One is naturally inclined to want to reserve judgment until we see where this goes." While Micah Nichols looked back to December 1938 to review the original Action Comics number 7, saying, "All in all a well-written story," and he gave it a 4 out of 5 rating. Superman comics available this week from May 2nd include Action Comics number 9, which is available in a variant cover, a digital combo pack, and a black and white variant cover. Earth 2 number 1 is also available in a variant cover. Smallville Season 11 number 1 printed edition. Teen Titans Annual number 1. There's also a second printing of Justice League number 6 available. Third printing of Superman number 1, and Justice League Volume 1 Origin hardcover. And speaking of Justice League Volume 1 Origin hardcover, it collects issues 1 to 6 of the new 52 Justice League title written by Jeff Johns with art by Jim Lee, but it also contains exclusive backup material by Jim Lee and other artists illustrating the design process for the iconic characters. DC's The Source blog gave us a look at the sketchbook page for the Superman design. This week we have all the latest baseball cap styles and great Superman designs, like this Metropolis New Era retro cap for just $13.98. Or how about this New Era Superman snapback cap for $19.99? These caps and more are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman Homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. The Superman homepage conducted an exclusive interview with TT Games producer Philip Ring, discussing the upcoming LEGO Batman 2 DC Superheroes video game and Superman's involvement as a character in the game. Come to the site now to see what he has to say about this highly anticipated video game. Game publisher Little Orbit revealed the identities of 6 more characters for the upcoming Young Justice Legacy game. You can add Zatanna, Tempest and Beast Boy to the previously announced playable heroes. Well, we now know that Simon, Riddler and Blockbuster are part of the 12 villains you'll need to defeat. Set for a February 2013 release, the Young Justice Legacy video game will be available for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo's Wii and the Nintendo DS. The Superman homepage Super Trivia quiz has been updated for another month. The 3 questions we're asking you this time around are: name the original 6 members of the Young Justice team as seen on the Cartoon Network animated series. In the DC's world's funnest animated segments that air on Cartoon Network, what is Superman often seen to be eating? And what does Supergirl do to cause Superman to call out for Martha Kent in an episode of the Super Best Friends Forever animated segments that air on Cartoon Network? If you think you can answer all 3 questions, come by the site now to submit your entry. And in a final note, Barry Freiman, longtime contributor and staff member of the Superman homepage, passed away on April 30th, aged 48. Our condolences to Barry's family and friends. Sad news. That's all the Superman news there was for the week April 27th to May 3rd. I'm Steve Younis from SupermanHomepage.com.
Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V and thank you for watching. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about costumes. So the Avengers opens today. Everyone's excited about it. I'm jumping up and down, I know that, even though I'm mainly a DC guy, and even though I haven't liked the Batman films, and even though I loved Spider-Man, I loved Hulk, I loved The Incredible Hulk, I loved Spider-Man 2, I loved Iron Man. Iron Man 2 was pretty good. I loved Thor. Captain America was a bit of a disappointment for me, and the X-Men movies, X-Men First Class, loved them. Didn't like Wolverine. But I have a feeling that I'm really going to enjoy this Avengers movie. Now, how does this relate to Superman? Recently, I've been talking about the changes in the new 52 universe and also the changes that some people are complaining about in the Man of Steel movie. The trunks have been removed and the new costume looks a little bit textured maybe in the film. In the comics, they've talked about it being armor. They've talked about it being part of his Kryptonian society, part of his linkage to his birth planet. And I think it's kind of cool that he's wearing a uniform that's similar to the types of uniforms that his people on Krypton might have worn. It makes sense that he might have been inspired to design his uniform to look a little more alien, to look a little more like it's from the planet Krypton, as opposed to maybe really light blue tights and a cape that might have been designed by his mother or might not have been. In the Donner films, which a lot of the people who really have a problem with the changes to the uniform, it isn't even explained where he got his uniform from. They don't even mention that his mother might have made it or that it's based on Kryptonian style or anything. He just has it at one minute. So as good as many people still like to think those movies were for Superman, it wasn't all that clear, and a lot of things didn't come out. Some things they just threw in, made up, Krypton being this crystal planet with snow everywhere and a tiny little society. Just things they decided to make because they thought they would be cool, and at times they were. And the reason I bring up the Avengers and other superheroes is that a lot of people are up in arms about how this isn't the real Superman. He has briefs, he doesn't have textured clothing, he wears tights, and no one's going to care if he has his briefs on the outside. It's not that big a deal. All my life as a Superman fan, I've heard about how lame Superman is because he's too much of a Boy Scout, because he saves cats from trees, because he wears his underwear on the outside. Now, first of all, I've defended this before because all superheroes in general wore their underwear on the outside. In the beginning, Batman, Superman, Robin, you know, all these people, they've somewhat modeled and changed their uniforms. But if you look at the comics until very recently, even Batman has changed. He's all black. In the movies, he wears this rubberized kind of latex bulletproof suit. In the comics, he's still wearing the gray and black with the separation in the panty area. Not now, because everyone kind of has this armored type look, and people are complaining about that. But in the movies, they did change it, and I don't remember anybody making a big deal. First of all, it makes sense. The guy jumping around as Batman with no powers should have armor. He's going to be shot at. It only makes sense. If you were a superhero in today's day and age and you had the money that Bruce Wayne has, you would have that type of uniform. Look at the X-Men movies. They knew going in that bright yellow and blue uniforms with these weird arms sticking out, shoulder pad type things wouldn't work. So they redesigned them. Yes, they're leathery and black, and people have had a complaint about that as well, but they look much cooler and work much more functionally on screen than the bright yellow and blue would have worked. Look at Spider-Man. Spider-Man is supposed to be a teenage kid who gets powers and decides to become Spider-Man because he feels responsible for his Uncle Ben's death, and he makes his own uniform, and he has no money, and he goes around and is Spider-Man. But in the movie, he has this awesome kind of thick, rubberized, also kind of latexy. It's a different kind of a material that they're using in the superhero movies now that looks really cool. If they put him in clothy tights, it would look silly and it wouldn't read all that well on screen. Yes, they used it in the Nicholas Hammond TV show movies that were on in the 70s, but you know, audiences are a little less accepting of things like that nowadays, and the Spider-Man suit looked awesome in the Tobey Maguire movies, but it didn't look like something that a high school student could have made or would have had the money to put together. Look at the Captain America movie. I've heard the same complaint about Superman, and they say, look, this is the Captain. Look at the Captain America suit. It's exactly what it is. No, it isn't. If you look at Captain America, who happens to be on a shirt behind me, he has these wings jutting out from the side. He has this giant A. He has, it's kind of an armored, layered chainmail look. It's not a jacket that goes over top. It's kind of a one piece, and it kind of does have a separated area for the crotch area. His boots flare out and are folded over. His gloves flare out and are folded over. They're things that wouldn't look that cool in a modern superhero movie, or at least they feel like it wouldn't. So they streamline the costume. They have similarities. They have things people will like about it, but they change it up, just like they're doing with Superman. Wolverine on the shirt behind me has that yellow and blue look that just wouldn't work on screen. Now, some people say it would be fine, and maybe it would, but what they're trying to go for is, yes, a slightly darker, slightly more realistic take on these uniforms that these people might wear. Look at Thor. In the Thor comic books, he has giant silver button-type things and a fold-over thing. On Thor's uniform in the movie, it's similar. It has a similar look, but it's not exactly the same. It looks more functional. Black Widow, Hawkeye, they don't look anything like they look in the comic books. They don't have these purple, weird, pointy masks on. This is what they do in movies. This is a normal thing. It's not all that odd. In fact, the only superhero movie that really kept his costume the way it might have looked in the comics was the original Superman movies with Donner. And even then, as I said earlier, they didn't really explain where he got it from, what it was made of, why he was wearing tights. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And I like the darker blues, and I don't mind the textures. And not having the panties there doesn't really bother me either. Think about this the next time you head out to the movies, or skip it all together, because, you know, the Avengers costumes are going to be slightly different than they are in the comics. Thanks for watching, everybody, and remember, ALUITS.